it's not done yet? You haven't put it on your notepad, and you're like, I'm not thinking about it anymore, because you're always thinking about it.
I'm always
talking about it with your dad.
Definitely.
Mapping out worst-case scenarios of who's going to hate you after you announce it.
Exactly, right. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here. It's a Monday. It's June 2nd. And yes, today we will continue to climb the pyramid, a.k.a. climb the mountain to the top to see who the number one quarterback is. And, you're right. Like what you were saying in the opening, it never really leaves my brain right now. It stresses me out, honestly. I went to Kentucky for a family reunion this weekend. I had to bring my briefcase of all my work and my film and all of that.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I would stress if I didn't have when I had a few moments to look at things and go through things and do that I would come home Sunday and be like, oh my gosh, I got to sit down and do some work here, right? Yes. So I did do some work to your point, but what's up? Ahmed Fareed here. Great to see you.
All right, that's it. Paint the picture for me. So you got family reunion.
Simms family reunion.
Okay.
We haven't seen
yearly.
Not yearly. It's been a long time.
Wow.
I haven't seen some of my family in 9 years, right? It's been like that. And as you know, it's hard sometimes. We're different states. My kids are growing up. My schedule, all that, their schedules. But we go to Kentucky, Louisville there, see my dad's side of the family. Friday night, hang out, lots of drinking and smoky and all that, which was great. It was just kind of like a cousin's party. And then Saturday, we had a big family barbecue outside at one of my cousin's houses. And, that was awesome. I mean, because it's the Simms family. We're all about action, as you know.
Yeah.
So it's it's horse going on and knockout. It's badminton. There's football in one corner.
So there's that. It's not just sit down and talk and catch up.
There's no way. Doing something. It's like a sit down and talk for about the first hour. There was food there. You do that, and then it's usually incumbent on me to get the party started, right? Where everybody looks at me and it's like, all right, Christopher, start acting crazy and tell everywhere to go here. So you start badminton, cornhole.
Badminton.
I start calling people out. I start making fun of them. All right, who wants to get their ass whooped first, right? Yeah. That's how I kind of started. So it was that. But yeah, the good thing is I bring my stuff. The family reunion was until 2 o'clock on Saturday, so I get to wake up and sit down that day, watch some film again, write a few notes, feel a little more comfortable with my quarterback list, get to talk to Dad because he's there too.
Sure.
So I get to at least talk that through with him,
fun.
Which helps me out. It's always a good exercise to say it out loud, as we say here on the show from time to time.
I mean, Danielle has to be so sick of that, right? You're on vacation, a family reunion. It's your family too, and so I always know that's difficult.
Right.
It's like you bring the laptop, and it's like you've taken her to Kentucky. All of Simms everywhere, and here you are by yourself looking at film of Dak Prescott.
Well, see, this is where you got to know. I got to know when to pick and choose my spots. This is where I know my wife.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to wake up way before her on that Saturday morning.
There you go. Okay.
And when I do that, I'm going to have time to do whatever I want and kind of start. No one's going to complain about anything, right? So that's what I got it done. I probably woke up at 9:15.
Okay.
My daughter, son heard that we were up late. Right, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs, get a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to sit here and buckle down and watch a little film a little bit, just feel a little bit better about my rankings. I did that. I did it as soon as I got home yesterday again. I think you saw my text messages, and feeling good about ready to go today.
And how much of this, because obviously you track this as close as anyone in the business, during the regular season, you see these guys. You're looking at film on Wednesdays, what the F happened. Right. So you've had a pretty extensive film work on all these guys up to this point. But how much do you feel like when you look back at these guys over the last month, that you take things away?
I actually learn a lot more when these little exercises, because during the season, I'm looking at the quarterback play, of course, but I'm trying to look at everything else on the team too.
True.
Right? And not just focus on him all the time. When you get into exercises like this, let me just pull up passes. Let me just go through. Ooh, let me go to this game now. Watch this game. Man, why did he have this little tough stretch here in this football game? Mm-hmm. Let me dissect that a little bit more. So there are things to be learned. And in full transparency, when I first make the list, as you know, I kind of go through it. And not going to say I sit here and watch film of every guy, but I watch film on a lot of guys. All right? Watch them all. Do that. Let me start the list, do that. And then as I get closer, do I know now it's time to talk about them? I turn on the film again to just go, wait, let me reconfirm my thoughts. Was I being a little too tough on that guy? Let me see there. And, usually More times than not, I come away going, oh, what I saw the first time was right. That's what I believe. That's where he is, blah, blah, blah. Every now and then I go, I might have been a little too hard on him. Maybe I should bump him up a spot or two. But more than not, that first look usually leads me in the right direction.
All right, because we don't want to leave anything out. And as we take a look at the pyramid here and what we have done up to this point, we have built it up. We're going towards the point. That'll be the number 1 quarterback in 2025. And so here it is. We want to make sure that nothing is left behind. That we don't forget about anyone.
I think Pete was doing a practical joke on his own podcast here, okay?
So if you're keeping track of the pyramid, what you will notice is that Escape from New York was last time. We had a couple guys that escaped from New York, the Sam Darnold and the Geno Smith. Don't You Forget About Me was not there. This block of the pyramid has just now appeared. Because we actually did in sorting through it and moving quarterbacks up and down.
Well, and right. And well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
We left someone out.
We left somebody out. We left Kirk Cousins out.
We left him out.
Which we didn't. Like, we had him 2 shows ago. And then we decided through reconfiguring through that show that we would wait and kick him down the road to the next show.
Yes.
Right? So the list was there. He has not moved on the list. This was not a reorganization of anything that way. This was, we were going to put him in one show. We said, maybe it makes more sense for the next show. And then in the transfer of the next show, the cackler, a.k.a. Pete Demolitolitis, he forgot to throw him in the rundown. Yeah. So it's my fault ultimately.
Which the Falcons
It's my list.
The Falcons
It's my list, right?
Yeah.
But Pete is supposed to help me out there, okay? And he didn't help out very much. He wasn't a good backup quarterback.
We don't really want to blame anyone, but this was Pete's fault that we forgot about Kirk Cousins here.
That's right.
But we're making amends, and we're putting him back in. So we'll get to the top 22 quarterbacks because that's where we are in the list if you're keeping track of a list, but we are doing the pyramid this year. But let's talk about Kirk Cousins here first because we don't want to completely forget about him. He was 12th in last year's countdown. He's been between 12 and 16 in every previous edition of the countdown, but this is a drop back for Kirk.
I mean, I try to project to a degree, right? And I know last year I was a little like, I don't know what we're going to see with him after the Achilles injury. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I probably should have had him lower going into last year after that type of injury and the age he was at. Because I do try to play that angle. That's a real angle. And again, guys get better. They do get worse, especially as they get, to certain parts of their career. But I think the big thing that I come away with Kirk Cousins and watching him back more than anything is the physical ability affected the mental decision making. That would be my biggest thing. That would be the banner headline on him, right? Yeah, there's questions. I don't know where we're going to go. He wasn't a super athletic guy. He wasn't a super athletic guy to begin with. Now you take a guy who's trying to compensate, maybe can't push off his leg quite the same way and drive the ball and do all that, and his arm wasn't necessarily known to be a bazooka to begin with, and now you lose that little extra power. Yeah, it affected his football game. It did. Did the ball flutter in the air way too much at times? Yes. Were yards left on the field in every game I watched for the most part? Yes. Were there times where I go, ooh, throw this, and I think he's going, I'm not really on my game right now, and people are getting close to me in the pocket, and I got a bum leg a little bit. Let me just check it down and take the easy throw here. Yes, there's too much of that, right? So, and to me, one of the great things about Kirk Cousins is he's always been for a guy that doesn't have that bazooka arm, he's had great feel, anticipation, and he's been a pretty aggressive decision maker. He lost that last year. And I think it has to do with, some of the injury and everything there. But yes, I think with losing some RPMs on the football, the ability to drive the ball into some tight windows, wanting to protect himself, I think there's a number of plays where you go, not only does that not look good, like, that ball fluttered in the air, that should have been a 15-yard completion, but the guy knocked it down instead. There was a lot where you just go, man, the old Kirk Cousins would have let this rip. He would have turned around, hit the back foot, and done it. And this one is taking kind of the conservative approach because I don't think he trusted himself. And, of course, that showed on the field, and it hurt their offense, and they weren't the same, as the year went on. He certainly wasn't consistent.
It's been an interesting career for Kirk Cousins because I think for most of his career he's been underrated. He's been the underrated quarterback, not drafted in the first round and then exceeds expectations, but then doesn't win in the big games, and so that kind of overshadows how good and consistent he has been overall. And then you get that big contract, and now all of a sudden he's a little overrated because of the down year last year. Now, a couple of injuries, obviously coming back from the injury to start the season, but then week 10 there was a shoulder and an elbow injury kind of during the Saints, and said it affected him from there on out. Only started, I think, a few more games after that before Michael Penix came in. So it is tough, right? It was like he was coming back from an injury, and then week 10, midway through the year, another injury to his throwing arm, shoulder,
not a real big
elbow.
Guy, not a great athlete to begin with. Then you got the bad leg. You can't get out of harm's way and do stuff like that. Yeah, I think it compounded itself a little bit that way. Definitely did. And yes, just the pure throwing and some of that was concerning. He was not as accurate with the football and putting it in places he wanted to be. Right, there's that. And then, yes, for a guy that didn't have that huge arm, that little aspect of maybe being a little late with the football, second-guessing yourself because you're in a new offense, and then, the ball hanging in the air and some big moments where it led to whether it was interceptions or incomplete passes like I talk about, or even worse, turnovers, which like you get into that too and go, turnovers I think were caused a little bit because of like, hey, number one, he was kind of open, but let me see if I can find something a little easier or better. Nothing's working. Oh no, the pocket's collapsing. Let me just throw it up and give this guy a chance. Oh, interception, right? There was a lot of that type of stuff throughout the year from him that just we're not used to seeing. And that's where he's tough in this whole exercise, right? And I think, to be fair to myself, I've probably been higher on him than most, I think, the last few years. But at his age, the way it looked physically on the field last year, and the fact that he didn't always have eye-popping physical traits to begin with, I got to see it to believe it again a little bit to put him any higher than this right here where he is. And let alone, I know we're going to talk about some guys that, I think got, a lot of improvement and big-time potential coming up here that passed him by.
He had some flashes, right? Week 5, that Thursday Night Football comeback. 509 yards. That was the Falcons' record.
That was the Bucs game, right?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a very good team, 4 touchdowns in that one. So it's like it still seems like it's potentially still in there, but he turns 37 in August.
Well, even watching that game, like there's some good plays. There's no doubt. I'm not trying to take that away. But Tampa's pass defense was not good, and they were really not good at that time of the year. And people are wide open. So that's one where, because one of my first things I do is I go, let me watch the best game, let me watch the worst game. That's like kind of my base start of every guy, right? So just kind of give me some ideas of what he does awesome. Okay, all right. So what are some of the issues? And then usually the bad games kind of bring those out where you go, oh, okay, there it is, right? So the good games, I wasn't sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. It's like, oh no, there's Kyle Pitts with nobody around him, 25 yards down the middle of the field. If you hit him, you get a 70-yard touchdown. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, you hit him, right? So it was like that. There was not enough plays where you're getting paid $50 million a year to where you got to go above and beyond the offense. Or you got to be consistently surgical like you always are. And that's what he was not this year. And I know, like, their weaponry on the outside is not like wowing, but it's good enough. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, people aren't open. Oh, your offensive line wasn't good, right? None of that is true in Atlanta. They can run the ball. Their offensive line was damn good. And the talent, even though we can say maybe Drake London hasn't lived up to top 10 pick potential or Kyle Pitts top 10 pick potential, it's still damn good. And Darnell Mooney's damn good too. And there was more to be had there. And yeah, he's at a tipping point of his career here. And I'll be interested to see where it goes because he's kind of fluttering on that age and where he is of like, wait, are you going to be a starter again? And if you are a starter again, is it going to be very good? Or are you going to be relegated to backup bill? And will you even do that? Or are you just going to retire after a year or two when you just realize you're not going to be the starter anymore?
Doesn't appear like that will be in Atlanta anymore as we move on now to
they moved on
22 quarterbacks. They did move on. And we will talk about who they moved on to as we build the next layer of our pyramid. It is time to build up a tier. All these quarterbacks in a similar tier, similar level. We will kind of parse them as we go. You didn't do a top 20 ranking for the homies, and we won't do that, but we'll still try to get in your brain and see which of these
definitely. I'll give you a guesstimate, and for all the homies out there, we are going to do a true top 10. You're going to see a hardcore top 10. Mm-hmm. But I will talk when we get done here, and we talk about all the guys we talk today. I'll roughly say who I think's in front of who or whatever else here, okay? But we are coming on a group of guys that we're going to put all in the same tier and the same class, right? But I'll differentiate. I never chicken out too much.
Let's start with the block that we are titling Needs More Info.
Yeah.
A couple of guys you really like, things you saw that were like, oh, this is pretty good. You liked him in college, and now we need a little more info this season.
That's
Drake
right.
Maye and Michael Penix.
I mean, big-time talents right here. Michael Penix Jr., Drake Maye, both like phenomenal last year. Phenomenal in a lot of ways. Now, let's start with Michael Penix. Michael Penix only played a few games. So I can't sit. I got to see a little bit more. That's why it needs more info. Drake Maye, again, he wasn't the starter to start the year, right? Missed some time at the end of the year. Okay, there's some rawness there. There was some managing of him a little bit to a degree, but wow, did I like what I saw from both. Michael Penix, here's the big thing. The talent, the arm talent just pops off the screen. There's no question about that. I mean, and all you got to know, and speaking back to Kirk Cousins and what we were just talking about there, yeah, Michael Penix was capable of hitting some of the aggressive, explosive plays that Kirk Cousins couldn't take advantage of when he was the starter. Now, the difference was Michael Penix, they had to kind of pull back the playbook a little bit, right? That's what you heard me saying. We see in clips here, and I mean, it's you know, perfect spirals, bombs away, aggressive decision-making, look calm as hell in the pocket, can make big power throws with ease.
I mean, that might be the most perfect spiral I've ever
Hey, he throws beautiful, beautiful football. Perfect spirals. And like I said, the power throws and downfield throws with lack of effort and being able to do it and make it look so easy. I mean, even look at that. Like his face, there's no strain. He's on the run, and it's just like, oh, yeah, here's a 20-yard out route on the run. No problem. Boom, right there. So that's what you love about Michael Penix. Standing in the pocket, not bothered by people around him at all. Love that as well. The thing that I need to see more of, and why I say need more info, is just it was 3 games and it was basic. It was basic. It was the beginner's part of the playbook. So I liked everything I saw from that, right? But he didn't have the full arsenal of like, hey, we're going to get really deep into our 3rd down and 7 package here so you can do some of the things Kirk Cousins does and read the field that way. No, they didn't do that. They still had the training wheels on to a degree.
Right.
And I expect him to take the next step in that category this year.
So his 3 games here on paper, his best one was his last one, over 300 yards against the Carolina Panthers, had a couple of touchdowns from the tape. Did you see some of the best stuff from that game, or does any play or series or game stand out in those 3 for you, what he can do?
Well, the Carolina game had maybe the most highlight throws, right? The Washington game, though, with the meaning behind the game, the fact that they were still in the playoff run, right, it wasn't an easy game. He kind of hangs in there, gives them an opportunity at the end of the game. Late in the season, when everybody's like full systems go, ready for football, and you're just getting used to football in the NFL, and you have to play in that type of playoff atmosphere type of football game and not play your best, but still, they obviously had the confidence, and that's to me the thing that jumps out about the stats is the amount of throws in each game.
Yeah.
To just go, damn, they obviously thought he can handle that. Right? So that's the big thing. But I think with him more than anything, and what's going to change their football team, and you're kind of hearing this too, that they want Darnell Mooney to take the next step and be a bigger part of the offense because he's going to open the field up. Mooney's going to open the field up with the Michael Penix Jr., which is going to open a part of their playbook that just was not available on a consistent basis last year, which was, hey, I got all these ways coming from Sean McVay, Zach Robinson, I'm talking about the offensive coordinator, that I can find people open 25, 20, 30 yards down the football field, and we couldn't even call some of those plays last year because of Kirk Cousins. We weren't comfortable with what he would do or if he could do it at a high enough level, and now they're not going to have to worry about that with Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, it's I mean, is it all just working out now for the Atlanta Falcons? It was almost like the bad decision wasn't to take Michael Penix when you already had Kirk Cousins. The bad decision was to get Kirk Cousins to begin this whole thing after all. But if you got the salary cap space and they've been able to rebuild the defense right here, I would think that on paper, if you believe in Michael Penix and you've got him here in the top 20 quarterbacks and they got some weapons around him, I mean, I don't know. We're not doing NFL playoff predictions quite yet, but this is a team that it should have enough to get over the hump.
There's one of those teams that I think you and me will hem and haw a little bit when we have to do our playoff predictions, right? And who will make it. You're going to be like, are they going to get in or not, right? I feel like they'll be one of those fringe teams, right? And they'll take some thought from us to go, ooh, do I want to take a shot? They're very close. I mean, but on paper, yeah, it looks like they got enough pieces to be in that conversation. Do I think they're in the class of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet? No, probably not. But they're close. And he's the guy that can put them over the edge a little bit to go, oh, whoa, okay, wow. With him now and his explosive arm, and then the combination of Bijan Robinson and their ability to run the football, all of a sudden it becomes, whoa, we got to defend this whole field, deep down the field, because he can throw 70-yard bombs, and yet they can run the ball underneath with Bijan and throw screens and all that and make it very stressful on a defense. And I think that's what you're pumped about Michael Penix. Moves better than you think, did add a little size, hung in the pocket. That was some of the questions I worried about a little bit, because his last game in college against Michigan, he got the crap beat out of him. And I said, I can tell you in that game alone, I was just like, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the NFL. Is he just a little too frail, right? But he doesn't flinch in the pocket. And for a big-arm quarterback, here's the last thing before we move on to Drake Maye. He does anticipate well. Usually big-arm quarterbacks are like, well, let me just see him turn the corner and make sure he's going to be open, and then they throw the rifle in there, right? Hayes got an ability to kind of go, wait, he's turning the corner. I see the window. It's going to be there. Let me just drop it and let my guy run in and get it. He's got all that. He's a gifted thrower. I'm expecting big things, but I just want to see a little bit more before I throw him up here too far in my rankings. Again, my rankings are all the teams are equal. We all have the same coach. We all have the same team. It's basically a pecking order. This is a quarterback depth chart, all right? That's what we're talking. And, yeah, I do play the projection game a little bit here, so we'll see where it goes. But I'm excited for Michael Penix and the Falcons.
And I don't want to harp on it. I already brought it up about the decision last year to draft him 8th overall. But it is interesting when you look back at that. It's just like, and I don't know if they realized it was a mistake with Kirk Cousins or if he was a little farther behind or they had already given him that money. Who knows exactly what happened? But they often say, you don't want to make one mistake, compound a mistake by making another mistake.
Don't double down on one stupid mistake.
It turns out not drafting Michael Penix would have been a mistake for them, because where would they be without Michael Penix right now? They'd be Desmond Ridder and trying Kirk Cousins, hoping he can come back, healthy at 37.
I never had a problem with Michael Penix being drafted. That wasn't what we talked about on the pod.
Yeah.
We talked about, why didn't you know you knew you were going to draft him way before you signed Kirk Cousins, right? That was the problem. Yeah. It was like they signed Kirk Cousins, and then they went to the Michael Penix workout, and they were like, whoa, we should take him at number 8. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, but you should have known that 3 months ago. Like, he was in that category.
Reallocate the money from Kirk Cousins,
and you could have a
playoff team.
Totally, exactly right. That's where they made the mistake. But to your point, the fact that they saw him, they liked him, I give them credit for that, of making a very tough, messy type decision where people like you and me are going to question them a little bit and throw them under the bus, right? At least, like you're saying, they didn't let one mistake become 2.
Yeah.
And within that, really let one mistake come 2 and 2 become 3 and go, whoa, we're paying him all this money. Let's make him the starter one more year, or let's let him finish the year and do all that. No, they ripped the cord. They said, see you later. It's time to start Michael Penix, and we're all pumped about that.
Yeah, Pete is mad that Michael Penix only finished 2nd in the Heisman Trophy, so the fact that Terry Fontenot did not see him, he might not have been watching college football that year because he was very good.
Or obviously there wasn't enough of an in-person visit to see what he was all about, and because just you read between the tea leaves, it certainly seems like, it was that workout, his pro day workout, and that where Atlanta came away a little bit like, whoa. And that started the whole conversation about maybe we should draft him at number 8.
Right. All right. So the Falcons did not make a mistake in drafting Michael Penix. We thought maybe the Patriots made a mistake by drafting Drake Maye, but he was better than we thought, than you thought he would be in his first year. He is in this tier of needs more info, but the info that we got last year from Drake Maye and his handful of starts, you really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I did. And he's another guy here that, like, him and Penix, I might be wrong here. Maybe I should have bumped him up a little higher, right? That's what I get it. But at the same time, there are a few things that are raw about his game. But I will say, like, yes, me having him as the sixth ranked quarterback coming out in the draft and all that, he's exceeded my expectations. I'm not one, and I hope everybody can appreciate this, and I know you know this, that I'm not going to sit here and just go, well, I'm never going to give him his credit because I had him ranked here, and I'm just going to, poo-poo him and talk him down until he hits that level, and I can go, I'm right. Look, I was right about my draft ranking. No, it looks like I'm wrong about my draft ranking, okay? That's what I'll say. Now, the thing you love about him, okay, is just the big ability, a little bit like we talk about with Michael Penix. First off, he fixed some of the throwing mechanical issues that I worried about in college football, and that's not always easy to do. We're going to talk about a guy we're here in a little bit there. I'm going to go, he still hasn't fixed himself all the way since college football. But so he fixed that. He did become a more consistent thrower of the football that way, but there's no denying the big playability. First off, plays really big in the pocket. He plays big. He plays tall. He's one of those guys when he's standing there, you're just going like, wow, I mean, he looks like he's 6'5", 6'6". He could see over the line of scrimmage, do all of that. His arm, the ball explodes out of his hands. He can throw 60-yard posts, and you're just like, man, is he in the park throwing to, one of Ahmed's kids? It just looks like it's graceful and easy. So he's got that aspect. The running takes you by surprise, right? I knew he had some good runs in college football. I will not say I thought it was going to translate totally to the way it did in the NFL. His ability to take off and not only just get 5 yards, get 15 or 20 with ease, that was really impressive. Throwing on the ball was impressive. Throwing on the run was impressive. He made a number of explosive, game-changing, field position-changing type of throws in his play this year. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. Does he stand in the pocket and hold the ball sometimes and you're just like, hey, check it down, get it out, run, do something. Don't take this hit. He takes way too many unnecessary hits. That would be one thing. He has a little bit of the disease of, wait, I'm going to wait for that one guy to come open a little too long, right? The first read. Or he gets off the first read and he waits for the second read too long, right? So there's little nuances like that. Handling pressure in the blitz and where I'm going to get the ball out of my hand quickly. Those are some of the things you look at to go with Drake Maye. The throwing still can use a little bit of more polish. He's not the machine you think he is. And you really break him down, here is one thing that popped out to me. It's like either super short throw or it was a super long throw. I didn't see yet machine-like throwing of like 15-yard comeback, 20-yard out route, 20-yard in cut, that type of stuff, right? So that's, again, goes back into our need a little more info. There was some in there, don't get me wrong, and you go, ooh, that was pretty good. But there are some in there, too, where you go, oh, he lost control of that football. Or you go, oh, why are you throwing that ball into double coverage right there, right? So that's just some others, that's the next step he has to take. Yeah. And I think Josh McDaniels will get that out of him. But, yeah, when you really break it down last year, a lot of it was 4-yard throw here, 4-yard throw here, screen here, 5-yard throw. Ooh, deep post down the middle for 45 or 50. And he was really good at throwing the deep ball. But you're not going to get away with that all the time, right? They got to find ways to also be a machine in that 10 to 15-yard area. That's where you make a lot of your meat and potatoes in the NFL.
Well, let me say this about Drake Maye, and that's big of you to take an early L on your initial ranking of Drake Maye. But let me just say this, too. That's a very good quarterback class, too. And there is still a chance that
he could be 6.
Caleb
I know.
Bo Nix, Michael Penix, who knows? J.J. McCarthy, he's still in that realm of, they're all good, but someone had to be 6, and maybe it was just him for him. And some of the stuff in college, and this was when I was the amateur film watching guy. I saw him. I think we both agreed when you watch his tape, some of the greatest plays for him were just like, man, that is awesome. That is an NFL quarterback. That's the number one quarterback. And then, but he had also more of the, wow, that looked ugly. That did not look good. So the consistency wasn't there. We have some video of him throwing here recently at OTAs. I want you to get into what specifically you think is different from his throwing from when he was in college to now, what you saw last year, hopefully carrying over into this year.
Yeah, just let this keep playing. Now, here's the first one, too, and if we have other ones, you can play them, too. But the first thing you always heard me talk about was he was a toe pointer a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. He does it a little there, but in the clip before, he doesn't. You don't want your big toe. You're not a ballerina dancer, right? Really more when you say step at a target, okay? If I was going to step and be in the middle of the clock and step at a target and I wanted to throw to 12 o'clock, I kind of want like my pinky toe to be going towards 12 o'clock, if that makes sense. Almost like on a sideward angles. You see that here with some of these throws. See? Yeah. He's not necessarily pointing the toe. It's like the side of the foot goes to the target. And then as you throw, the foot turns, and now it looks like the toe is at the target, right? Through your torque, and you're doing that. But so that's the first thing I look at. The second thing is it's also with the feet, he keeps a base. Remember one of the things I talked about? He let his feet get too close together all the time, and it'd be like, oh, they'd get too close together, and then it was like, hey, now I got to widen them out to throw. Too many moving parts to put that all together all the time. The good throwers are in a base because it allows the feet to be quiet now, and now let your upper body do the work, right, with the good base underneath you. If your base is all over the place, and now you're making that move as you're trying to make the upper body move, it's just too much moving on your body, and it compromises your accuracy. The other part of that, too, if you remember, was our talk was he let the ball drop behind him too far. He'd break his arm angle, and his arm would almost be out here like a baseball pitcher. And that's, you don't see NFL quarterbacks throw that way. And at times, I would say it's segmented. He'd honestly pull away, stop it for a second, and then like restart it and throw it. Now it is one consistent, smooth motion, let alone he doesn't let it go behind him to that extent. So that's what I'm excited for him. He's going to take the next step there with Josh McDaniels, that offense and all of that, right? There were still training wheels on with him last year. He's got to learn to protect his body. He's got to learn to have a plan to get the ball out of his hands when pressure is coming around him. He doesn't need to take some of the hits he took last year. He took a lot of big hits, right? And we just got to find a little bit more of the in-between throws like I was talking about. A little bit better feel for anticipation of what's about to come open. Don't always look and see it come open. He can definitely work on that. But, yeah, like I said, I came away with, like, it's either really short or it's an aggressive throw, and we got to work some of that intermediate game just a little bit more.
I mean, the Patriots, more than most teams in the NFL, have been rebuilt through free agency, the draft, obviously, too. He has a rebuilt offensive line. He got a new center, a new right tackle in Morgan Moses. He got Mac Hollins, Stephon Diggs, TBD, whether he will be there or not at this point. Travion Henderson, one of my favorite running backs in college now, is there with Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, for the first time in a long time, it feels like that the Patriots have potential for some big plays.
I think so, too. And, you know, we didn't hit on the Stephon Diggs situation here. It's unfortunate. I'm not shocked they wanted him and wanted to sign him, right? This is not a good look for him, and he's disrespecting them. They gave him a pretty good contract for a guy that's coming off an ACL injury. Now, I think they've liked him for a long time. I know they did. I said this to Florio on the show today. One, Brian Daboll had him in Buffalo, right? So that's the New England coaching staff. A lot of these people that are on the staff right now, they know Daboll. So I'm sure he was able to, like, hey, he does everything well. I know New England likes Stephon Diggs coming out of college a ton. He fits what they want to be. He's a great route runner with versatility, right, smarts, all of that. So they wanted somebody that was a proven commodity, stability for their wide receiving core, and he hasn't been there or been around, right? And they gave him basically $16 million this year. So they're like, what the hell? Then let alone not only are they at work and they're working and they're getting back at it, but he's at the Met Gala, he's at the Knicks game with Cardi B. Now he's on a boat giving him adult candy or whatever. I don't know. Just allegedly. I'm not sure what it was.
What was that? I was going to ask you. No one knows what it is. I was like, Chris might know.
I mean, it looked like pink powder to me. I don't know. Might have been Fun Dip.
Allegedly.
Could have been Fun Dip.
Speculation.
Right? Okay. But yes, either way, that's not a good look for him.
Yeah.
And what it does, too, and the fact that he's not there, and you hear Scott Zolak, right, ex-quarterback up there, does the New England radio show, all of that. When he says they're thinking about cutting him, I don't know if I believe that, but I think it's like they probably told some people that they knew would say that to send a warning shot.
Oh, I'm sure there's people in the building who are angry, who maybe don't have the power to cut him, but it's like, we should cut him.
This is New England. They take great pride in their organization. The Kraft, Vrabel, they're not these kind of guys. These are football crazy nutbags, right? And I'm saying that in a totally great way. The Patriots through the years, they haven't had off-the-field issues with players being crazy, right? I mean, they're not one of those teams. And when you have those issues, they usually are like, see you later. Get out of here, right? Antonio Brown, you didn't tell us everything. Out of here. In fact, we want some of the money back we paid you. Boom, get out. They don't stand for that crap. And, yeah, it's Mike Vrabel's first year. It's Josh McDaniels' first year. They got him to help Drake Maye in the wide receiver group, and he's not there. He's in danger of losing his spot because – I would not be shocked if up there in New England they're like, hey, we're kind of good at receiver. We're a little bit better than I thought. Man, if you listen to the reports, Kyle Williams is kicking ass up there. They could be at a spot where this call comes from of they just going, we'll be okay without Stephon Diggs, right? We'll make it. We're not going to be decimated. They could be looking at, Booty and going, damn, he's better than I thought. Demario Douglas, ooh, he's pretty good. Damn, we got Kendrick Bourne. We got Matt Collins. Oh, we got Jalen Polk last year in the draft. All right, we're okay. Screw Stephon Diggs. Now, the language and the contract and all that are going to be a big thing, but I thought we should just address that real quick.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really is unfortunate, right?
It is.
It's just like, by all accounts, it's like, Stephon Diggs. You've met him before.
I'm a huge fan of Stephon Diggs.
It's just too bad.
He's not a superstar one anymore. He's not in the spot anymore where you can just be like, I'm the man, deal with it. I'm on a boat, like, right? That's just not
right.
That's not where he is. And then coming off the ACL and all that, right? That's just it's not the best look for him. I don't expect them to cut him, but I think that was a strict warning shot. And if he makes one other little misstep here, I would not be shocked if they just said, see you later.
It's a wake-up call, and then we'll see how much he wants it here. All right, so Drake Maye and Michael Penix Jr., two franchises with the Falcons and the Patriots, who have, looks like, quarterback of the future. We'll see what happens. Needs more info. We'll get that info in 2025. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep adding blocks to the pyramid. We go to some old standbys who have been some controversial topics in the top 40 in the past.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was good. We got the Stephon Diggs. We continue the Chris Simms Top 40 Quarterback Countdown. Actually, it's a build-up. We're building up the pyramid, and now we're adding a block that includes Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua. It is this it?
Yeah.
So these are all guys who we thought
were
ascending stars in the game at one point or another. Now, you've never been high on Tua, obviously. You can go back and listen to some previous podcasts if you want more on that. Dak Prescott, though, you have been. Trevor Lawrence, you were maybe not as high as everyone else, but superstar has been put on these guys by various people at certain points in their career.
Right.
And now we're sitting here questioning whether we have seen the best.
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottom line there. Is this it? Is there anything more they can give us? Right? What I've seen from these guys right here a little bit is just the last 2 years. I've gone, oh, this is the same guy. I don't know. Is there more? Is there more in the tank? Is there something they can improve on? I question it. Now, we'll get into each guy specifically. Trevor Lawrence is probably the most interesting one, and I'll get to that in a minute. But, yeah, I question, have we maxed out? As we hit the ceiling, and that's all we are. And we'll start with Dak Prescott as I drool on myself as I say that one there. Right on my right hand I drooled. But like, with Dak Prescott and what we see, I don't know if there's anybody that I soured on more on my list over the last few years or just last year or this year than Dak Prescott.
Well, he was 8 last year in your countdown. He's been between 8 and 13 each of the previous 6 years. I think you have often been higher on him because people obviously see the last thing about Dak and it's a playoff defeat or not making the playoffs. And so I think you have tried to pump the brakes on the hate on Dak Prescott and saying, like, he doesn't have necessarily a ton around him and he's been pretty good and not many quarterbacks would be better in that system. But it changed this past year, you think?
It did change. It did. And you know, injuries, of course, are a part of that issue as well. And to the point, and like we just discussed this a few minutes ago, when I watched this like a month ago, I put him right here in this range, but I had a bunch of question marks and stars on a few of my rough drafts, and I was like, am I right about that? And I told you before the show, that was one of the ones yesterday I sat down and I was like, I got to go watch back Dak and Tua just to make sure my mind is where I think it is on that. Was I having a bad day? Was I a little down on him? And I can just tell you, when I turned it on yesterday, within 10 minutes, I was like, no, this is why I put him here in this range. I am underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed. The dynamic aspect of him, gone, not there, whatever, it's just not good enough anymore this day and age in the NFL. It's not. He doesn't move all that well in the pocket. He doesn't move all that well outside of the pocket. His release is slow, okay? His anticipation is not great. And I do believe his arm is actually taking a step back in some ways. So I think between all of that, that's what I look at, and I just go, man, I don't love it. The decision-making is not as quick as you would like either. There's a reason there's red zone issues all the time with Dak Prescott and all of that. Yeah, one is because he doesn't feel or see things coming maybe as quickly as you'd like for guys that have played as much as he had down in that area. 2, his arm is not super wow, right? It's just a good arm. So he can't fit it into some tight windows all the time. He doesn't have very many arm angles. And what you come away with more than anything after watching all these guys and watching him all in that same kind of realm and all that, I just go, man, it's one of the slower releases in all of football too. It's a slow release. Right? So that's where I get down on Dak Prescott a little bit. And again, we're talking about some guys and some other people that we've talked about and that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes that, yeah, I just feel like are at a better spot in their career. They're more talented and they're on the up and up. And I don't know about Dak Prescott. But yes, the injury part bothers me. Some of the mechanics bother me. We've talked about this before. I mean, he's one of the only guys I know that really, when he steps at a target and throws a football, his left leg goes towards that target, but as he's throwing, it actually slides backwards. And you want to know why he pulled his hamstring? That's why. He's basically doing a hamstring curl every time he throws the football, which makes no sense, right? And that leads to the inaccuracies at time. It leads to the ball hanging in the air. I mean, again, I almost want to stand up and just show it, but I won't. But his front foot, if you watch him on film, he will step, okay, and that foot will, as he throws, slide backwards at times. And it puts tremendous stress on his hamstring. So it doesn't lead itself to great accuracy, great ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And I think that's what bothered me more than anything about Dak Prescott and watching him back after this past year.
Yeah, that was week 9 against the Falcons. The hamstring actually partially detached from the bone. That's
crazy.
Why it's so significant surgery after that. And so, and you taught me this, and I was talking to you about this before the podcast, about injuries and injury prone. Sometimes that's overrated because it's just bad luck or whatever. But you can't argue the fact that the injuries do pile up, and the less athletic that you get, the less likely you are to avoid these injuries in the future, because you're just like a less athletic person is going to get injured more often.
We've seen, I feel like, his athleticism drop off every year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, I know he can still run for a first down every time and do that, but his ability to run and do that is much less now than it was 3-4 years ago, and it continues to go that way. Yeah, the more you're beat up, the less likely you are to do that type of stuff. But yes, again, too, with a guy for the amount of money he's making and doing what he's doing, they're not getting their money's worth out of this one. They're not. And I like Dak Prescott. I love the way he handles himself. He handles criticism, as good as anybody in football. So he's perfect that way. He's a leader. I get that too. He's a leader in a lot of ways. He's everything you want your organization to embody and stand for. I get that. But at the same time, he's the highest paid player at his position in a very big position. And yet, whether you go to 2 years ago or last year, you go through games and you just go, he doesn't make enough of a difference, or as a big time, get on my shoulders here, I got you guys in this moment, for what he's being paid either. And I don't think that's influencing my brain. I'm trying to just stay on what I'm seeing on the football field, but that is part of the broader conversation when you talk about Dak Prescott.
So there are multiple ways to score points in the NFL. You can have an elite quarterback that carries the offense, and you can also build up the team around him. They've tried to do that now, right? You got George Pickens there to go along with CeeDee Lamb. You got Javonte Williams, drafted Jaden Blue. They got Miles Sanders over there at running backs and trying to beef up that part.
Yeah.
So despite the fact that you think Dak Prescott, we may have seen the best from him already.
Right.
Can the Cowboys' offense be as good or better with what they've added around him?
I think they can be as good or better. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they're not better. I think their O-line's better, and then the George Pickens addition is huge. And I think the thing off of that I like at least a little bit here, and this is one of the positives about Dak, is I've always said this, Dak's ability to hang in the pocket and wait for big throws down the football field, that is one of my favorite things about him. He does have great feel in that way, right? Where I feel like some quarterbacks might be like, well, I took a big 5, I took the hitch step, and he's not quite where I want him to be yet, so I'm going to turn it down and go to the check down here, right? Dak's kind of like, he's played enough football where he drops back and goes, no, wait, I'm going to take an extra hip. This is a hitch. This is about to come open. Let me hang in there one more pat of the ball and throw it and make the big throw down the football field. So that's the aspects I love, right? But there's also an aspect of him at times too where within the normal meat and potatoes of the football game, I feel like he can be complacent or maybe not have the confidence in his arm like some of the other top quarterbacks to put the ball exactly where he wants to. He could be too quick. He got a little combination route to the right side, right? Somebody's running something deep, something's running short. To me, there's too many times where I go, he takes the short guy too much, right? Where I want to just go, come on, you played enough football. You know that guy's about to come open for a 20-yard gain. Why are we rushing to get the guy in the ball in the flat there for a 3-yard gain? What's that? And those are things I look at. And again, a play like that will be good on the grading sheets for most grading websites. But for my life, I'm going, wait, CeeDee Lamb going to be open for a 20-yard gain, throw the ball in the flat to Ferguson for a 4-yard gain. Yeah, okay, we got a completion, but we left the 20-yard gain plus who knows what he gets after the catch on the field. And that's a negative to me. And there's just a little too much of that in his game as well right now.
Cowboys are going to be a tough team because they've tried to revamp that defense a little bit.
Right.
Picks with Ezraku, who we like coming out of Boston College, Savone Ravel, a corner there, so you got a couple rookies. You still got Micah Parsons, but they got talent.
Their team could be a pain in the butt. I expect their team to be playoff-ish this year. And that can make me look stupid with the rankings. But I don't think it's going to be like, because, oh, my gosh, Dak Prescott is lighting the league on fire. Watch out. Decision-making, quickness in which he plays, quickness in which he sees the defenses to make decision, urgency in the pocket to throw and get the ball out of his hands. It's all a little just slow with Dak Prescott. That's what I keep coming back to. I see plays and just go, hey, come on, move in the pocket. Let the ball go. He's open. And it's like we're still kind of moving around in the pocket, looking downfield, or we're in the process of throwing, and I'm like, wait, the quarterbacks I've just watched, they all got the ball out of their hand already. Like it's out. And they threw it sidearm and just flicked it and got it to the target. And those are things you don't see from Dak Prescott. He needs a little space as a thrower. He needs space. He's got an elongated motion. He can't, like I just said, flick it or just wrist it out there, that little T-Rex motion. There's not a lot of sidearm that way and all that. And those are the things that, bother me a little bit about his game.
You know who the guy that can do that well?
Yeah.
As I transition from one guy to the next?
Yeah, he can.
Tua Tagovailoa,
right.
So also in this tier for you. And so if you go back and you look at all the things that you have said about Tua all throughout the years, you've been lower on him than in the past. But then there are some people that if they go back and watch Football Night in America a couple of times last year, you were complimenting him as much as any quarterback out there in some of the things that he does and does very well in this Miami Dolphins offense, the point guard, the Magic Johnson,
exactly
the distributor,
right.
Boom, 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 boom.
No
Tua,
doubt.
when he is like that, no one better in that offense.
There's great value to all that you're talking about there. And, hey, watching him compared next to Dak Prescott, how quick he moves in the pocket and how quick he can get the ball out of the hands, I mean, he looks like he's in fast forward next to Dak Prescott. That's certainly advantage Tua. I mean, Tua's ability to be pinpoint in short areas, right? That's another advantage he would have over Dak Prescott. And I should have got to that. Dak Prescott, because of that elongated motion and all that too, is not as pinpoint with some of the short intermediate throws as you would like for somebody that's making $60 million a year, right? Tua, excuse me, on the other hand, is amazing in that area. He is. But there's also some crossover to what I just talked about with Dak Prescott that we're going to hit on with Tua as well. Okay. Now, I love Tua's quickness. I love his foot quickness and his ability to come off a play-action fake and get his body in the right position to throw a ball into a tight window and get it out really quick. I mean, all of that's really good. His ability to process and see people come open in those short little areas, that's not always easy. We talk about that. It happens so quick, right? That takes a special guy to do that. I give him a lot of credit for that. But I go back to some of the things I've said in the past. Still, the big thing is when we get into late December and big game football or anything around that range, we go into those games questioning the highest paid guy on their football team, which is Tua. Is he going to be okay? And I still come back to that. And when I watch him and evaluate him yesterday, I like a lot. I do. Are there plays and throws left on the field and yards on the field every game? Yes, there are. There are throughout, whether it's missed throws, not being able to get to the target, or it's, oh, wait, we called the deep throw, and I have to throw it on time and rhythm, so I just have to put it out there. And it's like, no, he's double covered. But most quarterbacks have a chance to, let me wait for Tyreek Hill. I know he's going to open up and go by him, but he doesn't have the arm to do that. So then he'll throw a ball up, and you'll be like, well, it's double coverage. And it's like, well, yeah, he had to throw it when Tyreek was at 20. He was at the 20, right? So he had to throw it then. He can't even see if he's going to be open all the way down the field. He kind of has to guesstimate, if that makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying there? Also, I think if you got into other negatives, would just be health, like you mentioned before. Do I think some of that affected his decision-making last year? 100% No doubt about it. A little bit like we talked about with Kirk Cousins. Hey, Tua was going to, if the play was take a quick 5, one hitch, and throw the ball, he was going to do that no matter what. It was going to be like, I'm going to take a quick 5 and throw it. And again, I get to this, and this to me is big because the great quarterbacks in the sport do this right now. Where, okay, quick 5, okay, you could see he's about to come open. Okay, you took your hitch, but you still see he's coming open. Stay with him and throw it. There he is. Tyreek's open for 25. But instead the ball's already out because we listen to our feet and all that. And he's too good and too experienced for that. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. Some of his negative plays, interceptions, throws, or all that are thrown just because it's like, wait, I was told to take a quick 5 and throw. And it's like, well, no, this is football. The sport's not perfect. Yeah. The guy that you threw to in practice all week where it was perfect because of how the scout team played it, no, there's actually a guy that's trying to stop it now today on Sunday, and he bumped that guy as he was running the route. But you see the window. Don't just throw it just because it's like, hey, it was time to throw, and there's the window, and I'm going to throw it. He's not there yet. But we just throw it and let it go. And I think some of that is maybe because he's protecting himself, yeah. And some of that is like lack of aggressive decision-making, right? Or just hang in the pocket to make that aggressive play. And those are some of the negatives I come back with Tua. It's tough here. It is tough. In my heart of hearts, I want to say Drake Maye and Michael Penix are going to pass these guys up this year. I really do. But I just don't have enough quite comfort and evidence from those two to say that quite yet. And I don't want to be disrespectful to two guys who have played for a long time. Right. I get that. But I think these questions are very legitimate. I really do. And not only between that, you know, He's great at sidearm and off-platform. I love all that stuff too, but he's not going to run a whole lot, and he doesn't scramble outside the pocket and make any plays outside the pocket that way to make a big throws either. He's slick moving in the pocket, and let me shovel past a guy here, or I'm moving in the pocket and I see somebody open over the middle, and boom, I get it out. He's really slick that way, but I'd be lying to you if I don't sit here and grade a little bit on off-schedule plays. You have to. It's 2025 in the NFL. The best quarterbacks in football are making off-schedule plays all the time. So that's part of the sport right now. The defenses are too good. It's not going to be perfect. But, yeah, this is where we get back to, is this it? Or do we have something else we can go to another level here where you can shut somebody like me up?
Led the NFL with a 73% completion percentage last year, but a lot of those quick, you know, the difficulty of those throws are not necessarily at the highest level. And this is tough for you because, right, you look at the Drake Mayes and the Michael Penixes, the ceilings are higher, but the floors are lower.
Right.
But it's not like the floors are not low with Tua and Dak either, with the injury concerns that both of them have, and the concussions with Tua and the hip at the end of the year.
Exactly right.
And I think that's part of it for Tua. You say you don't want to be a robot out there, but I'm sure that Mike McDaniel has told him, you got to protect yourself more so than other quarterbacks out there. All quarterbacks want to protect themselves, self-preservation, but for him with the concussion history, it's just like it is a must, and it's hard to. I don't know. It's just like he has to protect himself.
I know it's a hard thing to tell a human not to do that. Right? That's where they're in a tough predicament. That's where I got back to the contract stuff and going like, wait, nobody's going to be bidding to pay Tua with the things you're talking about, let alone the play on the field. Why are we just outbidding ourselves? I don't get that, right? So that's the things I question there. You know, a little bit like I talked about with Dak Prescott too. There's a few too many plays where I want to go, wait, the slot guy's got an out route. Tyreek Hill's got a 20-yard out route too on top of that. Like, he's about to come open. Like, just wait, throw it. Just a 30-yard gain. Boom. But no, the ball's out of the hands too quick. Again, it's not a bad play, but I'm just going, Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Matt Stafford or whatever are hitting that all day long to Tyreek Hill. And then who knows what happens after they hit that, because go 3 rockets up his ass might turn up the sidelines and go for a touchdown, right? So that's what you miss there. There's a lot of good there, but I not only with that, and he's almost the opposite of like Dak Prescott, because Dak would be like a little bit of the, wait, I'm big, I'm going to hang in the pocket, and it's like, no, get off of him. CeeDee Lamb's not going to come open. Go somewhere else. Don't just try to throw it to CeeDee and like, I'm going to put it in a good spot with 3 people around him and hopefully he'll catch it, right? Like, don't do that. Move on to the next guy. You know, it's the opposite of that with Tua, where it's like hit the back foot and it's coming out no matter what. And there's a little bit of me that's just like, hey, you played enough. You know this guy going down the middle against cover 2 is about to be open. Give it a split second more, and you're going to have a big play here. And there's some of that misses, let alone some of the other stuff we're talking about too.
Yeah, those are 2 interesting quarterbacks to talk about because, yeah, it's like Dak has been in the superstar realm, top 10 for you before, and Tua for a lot of people has been, leading the NFL in yards or completion percentage, be like he is in the upper echelon. But with the injuries, you're like, man, this might be it for him. This other guy in this tier, though, the fact that you included Trevor Lawrence in this tier of is this it? I think that would be a shock to a lot of people. It's still 25 years old, former number 1 pick. Obviously also was injured last year, played, what did he play, 10 games?
Yeah.
When it was all said and done, only won 2 of those. So it was a really disastrous year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But you at this point, at 25 years old, former number 1 pick, you're already questioning whether this is it for Trevor Lawrence.
I a little bit. I am. There's no doubt. He's one of the tougher guys to do here because there's still unbelievable talent. And you just still look at it and go, wait, can they tap into this? Or like what we've seen in a little bit of a regression the last 2 years is this is who he is, right? The first year of Doug Peterson, you just go, oh, wow, they're going to the playoffs. This is great. They had the Kansas City Chiefs on the ropes. The next year, there were some moments, but it wasn't nearly as good. And, of course, they don't make the playoffs and don't have a great record or do anything that way. And I know he was a little banged up, okay? But then we get into this year, and it really got worse. And you look at the start of the year early on in the season, and yeah, a lot of it is Trevor Lawrence. There's no doubt. We talked about Trevor Lawrence coming out in the draft, and I talked about some mechanical issues throwing the football. There's still mechanical issues throwing the football. So that's why he's a little bit in this group here. His ceiling is higher than Dak Prescott and Tua. Okay, it is. But also his surgicality and ability to make consistent quarterback plays is less than theirs in a lot of ways. So that's where he's the tough one. And I expect Liam Cohen to fix him, but I've also seen 2 coaches with him so far that have not fixed him. So I'm a little bit like, I don't know. It's going to be on him.
Good coaches, too.
Right, what's that?
He's been around some good coaches,
He's had some, right. The Urban Meyer experiment was always tough to start your career that way. But the way they started the year last year, before he was hurt and all of that, there's too many bad decisions. There's way too many missed throws. Way too many. For as a guy that's as talented as he is, the ball is all over the place. And I think that's what's concerning about Trevor Lawrence, let alone I think there's not enough variety in his throwing. We've talked about this a little bit in the past. He's got all the clubs in the bag, but it feels like he uses the driver or the 3-wood all the time, okay? Touch, anticipation, flick the ball out there and just drop it in the bucket and let the guy run underneath it. He's not great at that stuff right there, right? He can go through games, and I've said this in the past too, or you can go through different games and go, wait, this game he's throwing it like this. This game he's throwing it like that. Like there's little nuances in my quarterback eye to go, he's kind of throwing the ball different than the week I just saw last week. He's like come up with a different way to kind of figure it out that day. That tells me there's mechanical issues. That tells me he's going into pregame warmups and like, oh, I don't quite have the feel today. Let me invent a new feel and see if I can carry that over to the football field. But you look at Buffalo early in the year, you look at the Houston Texans early in the year, and it's oh my gosh, one after another. And that's what's disappointing. And, of course, that carried on until he got injured, really. And, I'm not sure. Big, great athlete, rocket arm, quick release. Those things right there, if I just said that, you'd go, oh, this must be one of the better quarterbacks in football, right? But inconsistent decision maker, balls all over the place, doesn't make a ton happen off schedule, right? Needs to learn a little bit more backyard football, right? He's a little too much like, I'm in the pocket, I'm big, and I'm going to throw my laser somewhere. And sometimes it's like, no, 1's not open, 2's not open. Hey, you're big, you're run. Get out, make a play, do something. Scramble a little bit. Be Mahomes. Be Josh Allen. Be Burrow, right? Do that. Get out. Do something. And those are the things you're not seeing from Trevor Lawrence right now. I'm hoping Liam Cohen can get him back on track. That's why he was hired. He's hired there to save Trevor Lawrence and make that offense fun and explosive.
What have you heard about Trevor Lawrence, too? Because when he was coming out and the #1 pick and all that, remember those reports that I was like, how much does he love football? You know, he likes a lot of other things. Is he really invested?
There's still those thoughts out there, Ahmed. There is. It's a good question by you.
This is the time when it's like when things are going bad is when you really need that love for football, or else you're just like, screw this.
Definitely. This was, there was talk last year that Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence, and Mac Jones was like, wait, I'm crazy psycho New England worker. Where's this guy? Right? I heard things like that coming on from down there a little bit, like Mac Jones is a little bit like, wait, I'm the gym rat. He's the one making $55 million. It should be the other way around, right? There's a little of that. And yes, I think I told you when he signed his last contract that was definitely some thoughts down there. It was just, hey, we know he likes football a lot. Does he love it, right? Does he love it? The great ones are obsessed with it. They're obsessed. It's every day, all day. It's all you think about. And I think there's a thought down there that maybe he's not invested to that extent.
Yeah.
Maybe Liam Cohen can bring that out of him, right? I think there's people that think like, oh, well, it's just been so easy for him his whole life, right? He was the man coming out of high school. He was the man right away in college. He was the man pretty early on in his NFL career. Does he just think it's all going to come that way? And this is this first real, what do you want to say, trial and tribulations of like football life here, where he's got serious doubters and he's got to figure some things out with his play.
Yeah, Pete has put it in here. He goes, this was shortly after he was drafted. He told Sports Illustrated, it's not like I need this for my life to be okay. He admitted that he doesn't have this huge chip on my shoulder that everyone's out to get me, and I'm trying to prove everyone wrong. And there are some people that say, well, what is that? I mean, like, come on. You're just trying to like, oh, this guy loves – I need to know this guy loves football. But when I took a job over at MLB Network, it was John Entz who hired me over there as an executive, has been all around. Now, he asked me, he's like, do you love baseball? And he goes, not that you can't work here and not love baseball. He's like, but come August and September, when you've been grinding every day, he's like, if you don't love it, you're gonna hate your life. It's like we'll hire you if you don't love it, but if you don't love it, you might be miserable here.
Yes, more times than not, the quarterback's got to be that guy.
Yeah,
it's like I'm not that guy. I wanted to be that guy. I'm still devastated my career didn't work out that way, right? I could have told you when I was 16, no, everything's not going to be okay if I don't get to the NFL. I'm going to be life disappointed and probably have to deal with some depression, right? Like my answer would not have been that. I don't think like Troy Aikman's or Peyton Manning's answer would have been like that coming out either, right? So that's where there's that thought. And the fact that came out of his mouth at that time, and look at that, I think that's why that thought was there. I think people were onto that a little bit. So we'll see where it goes. But like I said, the potential's there, the talent's there, right? It's decision-making, it's variety in throws, it's touch on the football, it's consistency in throwing the football. That's what's a little scary about Trevor Lawrence.
And the talent around him is there. Brian Thomas is the guy that you liked a lot last year and showed why you liked him last year. I mean, you like De'Ami Brown, too, coming out.
Definitely.
He's going to be playing for him now. And then you got Travis Hunter, of course, who has maybe the best ball skills out of a receiver we have seen in a long time.
Definitely. I mean, going to catch the screen game and let this roll a little bit because, first off, look, when you watch him throw the football, you could see, like, right there, you say perfect spiral with Michael Penix. These balls are spinning and moving. So can Liam Cohen get him right and make him more of a machine throwing the football and then get his confidence back, too? Because what you see with a lot of guys in this group, in this area of what we're talking about is because we're in a area where it's a lot of strugglesville for a lot of these quarterback. At times, it's like, hey, yeah, when you struggle and you're not doing as well and all that, it affects your decisions and things like that too. And Trevor Lawrence was all over the place with decisions, throws, and everything last year.
All right, interesting group. Is this it? Maybe prove us wrong will be or they did prove us wrong. Will be the block that we put on the pyramid next time. I'm trying to
wrap up that was smooth right there. Damn.
I've had a couple all-timers here.
That was actually very Trevor Lawrence right there. It was like consistent all over the place.
I don't even know what if I would have nailed what I was trying to say, it still wouldn't have been any good. So that was rough. All right, we got to take a break so I can gather my thoughts here. Our last quarterback tier of the day, ready to launch, is coming up next. It was a very good quarterback class last year in the draft. A lot of those guys could win an MVP one year, and Jaden Daniels for second-year quarterbacks, the favorite among all the second-year quarterbacks, plus 750 to win the MVP this year. Caleb right behind him. And then Bo Nix, 3. Drake Maye, 4, to circle back to our conversation with Drake Maye. It's like he may be very, very good, but that was a good quarterback class. And
yes, it was.
Still might be 4, 5, or 6 when it's all said and done.
You're right. It might not be such a bad thing with this group the way they look right now. But this is a special group. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I would expect Caleb Williams to make a huge jump this year. And Bo Nix, who was phenomenal last year and maybe had some better tools around him to support him, they'd be 2 guys I'd go, if you got some extra change and that, you want to like strike it rich, hit the lottery, I'd throw it out there. I mean, I think Caleb Williams has a chance to be one of the most improved players in football. I would be shocked by that, right? By what everybody thinks of him and what the reality will be this year. And that's why we're about to talk about these 2 young studs here right now.
And if you have a buck, throw it on J.J. McCarthy, because why not?
Plus
10,000 odds for it's 100 to 1. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
plus
that's what that is. We discussed that with you before. One of these days you'll get it.
It's hard. All right, DraftKings Sportsbook is your home for live betting, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Just download the app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Let's do it. You teased it.
Yeah.
Let's open up the next part of our tier, the pyramid. The quarterback countdown. Count up continues with ready to launch with 2 quarterbacks we just talked about briefly. It is Bo Nix. It is Caleb Williams. And if we're getting nitpicky here, we've already talked about some other guys who were on the same level of the pyramid.
Yep.
With Drake Maye and Michael Penix, you would have Bo Nix and Caleb ahead of them.
I would. Exactly right. If we were going to really rank it and go there, I think I'd have these guys slightly ahead of them. I would. I'm excited about these 2. Again, I've seen enough film here to feel comfortable about a little projection. That's where it's a little different than maybe Drake Maye or even Michael Penix, okay? To me, there's a little less rawness here with them, too. I talked about Drake Maye, right, and some of the rawness and things he's got there, and there's still mechanical things he's got to fix. Not to say these 2 aren't perfect, don't get me wrong. And Michael Penix, like we talked about, it's only 3 games, so it's hard. But these guys, you get to see the whole freaking year. The whole freaking year. And within that, you have to remember that some of that's going to be bad. And one guy didn't have Sean Payton and the best defense in football around him and Caleb Williams. So there were some issues there, okay? But we're going to break it all down. Let's start with Bo Nix. Bo Nix, damn Bo Nix, damn Bo Nix, damn Bo Nix, okay? I mean, Drew Brees Jr. has got a chance here. That's what I got, all right? All the haters of Bo Nix, he can't throw the ball down the field. Yes, he can. Bo Nix has got a powerful arm, a quick release. He can push the ball down the field with the best of them. He can, too. It might not look sexy. Everybody's going to wipe away their thought about what they thought about him in Auburn and their stupid thoughts about, he threw too many screens in Oregon. Yet I didn't hear anybody say that about Dylan Gabriel this year. That's what I love. Like, this year it was okay. Nobody was like, all he does is throw short. But, like, last year it was a thing. I don't know. I hate that about football, where it's like it's a thing for one guy, but not this guy. We let him go with it. No problem, everybody. But Bo Nix, decision-making, off the charts good as the season goes, okay? Off the charts good. And of course, in an offense that's trying to do a lot and always being more pushed on him. His arm strength, like I talked about, not only is it damn good, okay, it's easy good. And what I love about Bo Nix is he doesn't need space to do it. Bo Nix can be a guy that the pocket is collapsing and he doesn't have room to step in and do it or do anything like that. He's always got a good base, and because he's so strong and athletic, he can kind of throw a 20-yard out route or an in-cut without taking a step and just turning his shoulders and letting it rip. He's got a great compact motion. It's one of the quicker releases in all of football already. Okay, so you got all of that. He's a very good short thrower, as we know, intermediate thrower. I think people, if you go back and watch this year, you'll realize, damn, Bo Nix is kind of a machine as the season goes on with the 15 to 20-yard routes, let alone some of the deep throws as well. And then, don't forget, when he turns a corner like a Drake Maye or some of these other guys, he can run for 30 yards, not 5 or 10, for 30. That's what kind of athlete he is. So, yeah, I think between anticipation, putting the ball in tight windows, getting to see just about every scheme possible in the history of the planet because of the Sean Payton's offense and let him do it, I just don't have very many questions about what he can and can't do. To me, it's just about experience and continuing to play and growing the playbook around him. And they're excited about him out there. I know that. I know people out in Denver, and they think Bo Nix is about to whoop some ass, and I do too. And that's why I'm, maybe playing the projection a little bit, but I love what I saw on film, too.
Well, I mean, from the first 4 games that he played, and of course in that Sean Payton offense, they're throwing so much at him in there. He had 1 touchdown. He had 4 interceptions. They were 2-2 as a team. But then after that, you look at his numbers. He has 29 touchdowns to just 8 interceptions from October through January. They win a ton of those games. And so he obviously was able to pick things up very quickly. He had the trust of the team to start day one with them.
Yep.
But what you're hearing from Denver and what you've seen, they think he can even take a bigger step.
I think Denver's got like big time aspirations in front of them right now because I think they're excited about where their team is. That their defense is special already and they've made it even better, and that this quarterback and the running back they drafted out of UCF and all that, they're looking at it like, hey, watch this. Year 2 with the quarterback and year 2 with Sean Payton and all the things I'm going to add to the offense that I didn't even put on the offense's shoulders last year. That's where I think they look at it and go, yeah, we're going to take a step in a direction here. Watch out for us. And that's what you love about this guy. There's versatility and what he can do, and, of course, within the Sean Payton offense. But, yeah, specifically to him, I mean, again, the different platforms throwing it that way had showed the ability to anticipate when people do come out of breaks and all that, can play backyard football, it has all of that, and then has a big-time arm. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it's as up there with the top guys in the sport, but it's that next group down, and I think people got to start respecting that a little bit. Like, whose arm is better, him or Jaden Daniels? I don't know. It's close. I'm not sure it's not Bo Nix, but nobody questions Jaden Daniels' arm, right? So that's where I don't get it. I don't quite get it. There's no questions about Bo Nix's arm. Cold weather, wind, whatever, I saw him throw it through the elements all year last year. So everybody's got to stop all that like, oh, he just throws the ball short. I don't know how talented he really is.
Yeah, we have some video of him throwing too, so we can do a little mechanical breakdown if you want to, hooking up with Troy Franklin, his former Oregon teammate, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the day, and so here he is in practice. Got the blue unis, navy blue. Oh,
you see how easy it is? He's a machine. His body's almost always in a great position. You can see here. He's great at going through reads. He's got touch. He's got more power in the arm like we talked about. He can push the ball down the football field. He's perfect for what Sean Payton wants. He can make decisions and see things happening above his years of playing in the NFL. And that's where his college experience, the fact that his dad was a high school coach, right? He makes some plays and reads and throws where you just go, oh, damn, like – some of the things I would tell you about, like we talked about with Tua or some of the other guys who have played a while, where I would go, wait, you played too long. Take an extra pitch. He's about to come open. You watch Bo Nix and you'll go, look at that. Like, this guy's not open, but he knew in this coverage that through the study of the week and what Sean Payton said, this should be there. So he hung in the pocket for a half second longer and makes the throw to Cortland Sutton for a 25-yard gain over the middle or whatever else. That's what I like about Bo Nix. He's really got it all. He really does, and that was an impressive first year. I actually don't know if I've seen a quarterback get less credit for the stats he had and going on the road and him being in the wild card playoff round, and nobody really kind of giving him, I think, the credit he probably deserves for what he did. And I know he's got Jaden Daniels, who takes away the luster of the rookie quarterback. If C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels didn't happen the last 2 years, I think we would all be going, oh my gosh, Bo Nix, oh my gosh, Bo Nix, oh my gosh, Bo Nix, this is special. But they kind of took the luster off of it because they were so awesome.
10-7 last year, Denver. They were a playoff team. Kansas City was 15-2. They've won that division for I don't know how many years in a row.
Yeah, they better watch out.
Denver, though, number 1 defense according to Devin McCourty when he was on this podcast last week.
Right.
And now you got Bo Nix in second year. You got some playmakers, Cortland Sutton on offense, R.J. Harvey. I know you liked him.
Yep.
Out of the realm of possibilities that they make it a contest this year in the AFC West with Kansas City and the Chargers on who wins that division.
No. If I thought there was a year where that team in red and maybe the greatest quarterback that I've ever seen in my life at number 15 there, we're going to have this is one of the first years I feel like I'm ever going into in the Patrick Mahomes era where I'm a little bit like, not sure. I know playoffs, but I'm not sure they're just definite to win the AFC West. Mm-hmm. Chargers got better. Raiders got better. Denver's going to be good. Sean Payton's not going to be like, oh, well, I'm just stuck in the AFC West with Andy Reid and Mahomes. I guess I'll just be second. Like, what? Does anybody know Sean Payton? He's a psycho. He definitely wants to win that division. He's heard enough of that shit. I can guarantee that's what he's telling his team. I've had enough of this shit with the Kansas City. So, yes, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, and I think Kansas City will have to fight and scrap and claw to win that division more than maybe any other year we've seen so far in the Mahomes era.
On the flip side, we all know it's going to be a tough year for the Chicago Bears because I want it to be a tough year for the Chicago Bears, and I will will it to happen, but I am fearful that it will be better for Chicago and Ben Johnson now over there and Caleb Williams, who you had as your number 1 quarterback. A lot of people did. Bears did because they took him number 1. Did not have a number 1 type of year, but there were a lot of things around him that maybe prevented him from doing that. Some of his own doing, though.
Sure.
They're trying to coach that out of him now.
Definitely.
But you have Caleb Williams in the ready-to-launch tier.
I do. Listen, I'm bullish on Caleb Williams. I think a lot of the problems we looked at and what we saw, we can blame him, certainly, but I think a lot of it was systemic as well. Unlike a Bo Nix, he did not have the number 1 or a top defense in football around him, and he didn't have Sean Payton managing the game and calling plays and coming up with game plans to make it just absolutely perfect for his young rookie quarterback. He didn't have that. This is a guy here, Caleb Williams, unlike Bo Nix, so I would just say he had more on his shoulders right from the get-go than C.J. Stroud did or Jaden Daniels. They kind of like, hey, you're the starter as soon as you got on the football team. You're the starter. Week 1, we're just going to run and play and go. Like, you're going. Here we go. There's no training wheels or anything like that.
And watch film by yourself.
Right. But that speaks, again, to the support system around him, and I think we got to take that into account. Everything I watch with Caleb Williams, I just want to go, this is coachable. This is fixable. I don't really, I'm not going to worry about it. Ben Johnson's going to show him a bunch of clips and go, look, the first read was open in this game 7 times. The first read was open in this 8 times. I've seen you hit the first read 1,000,000 times in college. You knew it was open. Why the hell were you so greedy? Why were you looking for more, right? I think some of it, too, got in his own head a little bit about, trying to make plays, trying to do too much. Didn't always throw the appropriate ball. But, when you see his good from last year, I'd go, it's as good as anybody you're going to watch. I mean, as good as anybody you watch. If you took Caleb Williams' top 40 plays of the year, you'd go, well, damn, is he as good as Josh Allen in that group right there? Because some of the throws he makes and that stuff, you just go, wow. You see elements of him being surgical. You do see that. And, of course, there's the negatives of him holding the ball, waiting for more. I think at times putting pressure on himself to make the big play to change the football game because things weren't going well, right? Mm-hmm. I think that all compounded and led to some ugly moments. But there was still a lot of damn good moments to go along with that. There was. He's got to get rid of the sacks. He can't be too greedy. And I don't even know how to really – because he doesn't have mechanical issues. His throwing is pure. But there was just too many inappropriate footballs last year. When I'm going to go, it's a shallow cross. You have the best touch I've seen in it's coming out of college. You have amazing touch. You can drop it like Mahomes out of the sky. It doesn't even look like you're throwing it. But here's a shallow cross, and you're like, whoa, I can't see the ball on the screen. Did you really throw it that hard? Right? Here's a option route by DJ Moore in the slot route, right? In the slot position. he breaks out of the break, and the ball's like, whoa, it's on him like so fast and so hard. And it's just like, come on, calm down. But I think mistakes and interceptions make you do all that type of stuff, right? And a lot of those bad throws or missed throws, like, he's not necessarily in the wrong spot. I'm like, oh, this is the right read. It's just like, oh, he didn't throw it on time. Or this time he held it a hair too long, and then I'm going to put extra mustard on it and throw it harder to make up for the fact that I waited to see him come out. Oh, because I tried that little extra, the ball wobbled and I lost a little control of it. But the other side of it is when things work in harmony, you just go, is that one of the best throws I've seen this year? Damn, holy shit, how did he get out of that trouble in the pocket and avoid that? Man, he took a lot of sacks last year, and a lot of them are his doing. He got out of a lot of damn ones, too, that were pretty impressive.
Well, that was part of the question coming out at USC, because he had a bad offensive line at USC. He had to buy himself some time and create, and he could, and he was athletic enough and fast enough to do that with those bad habits translate over to the NFL, and they did. So as careless as he was with his body and 68 sacks, that's not good.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
You wanted to add on that?
Well, this is to me like where we look at it, we look at the record, I know the sacks. It's still 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions?
So I was just going to say that. Yeah, as careless as he was with his body.
Yes.
I was looking from week 7 through 17. He threw the ball 363 times. They threw it a lot with him.
Wait, there was way too much on him.
He had
no help.
One interception after week 7.
There you go. He's capable of taking care of the ball. Now, he has to find a way to take care of the ball and also not take sacks within that, right? And they also, what you look at, too, and this is where I don't like they had so many games that were down to the end that are like, it's here to be had. And that, to me, again, it goes into just organizational failures as far as coming up with how to finish a game, win a game, get it done, whether it's the Fail Mary against the Commanders, it's we lose a point by the Packers, we barely lose to Minnesota the week after that, we up the end of the game's whole situation on Thanksgiving against the Lions. So here we are with a rookie quarterback where I know people are kind of getting on him a little bit, and I'm going to go, man, they were this close in so many games, and he wasn't the issue in those games and makes a number of plays, and nobody ever kind of really helped him or helped the team to get over the hump in some of those situations. Mm-hmm. And that's where, I guess I have a little bit of a soft spot for him there and what I saw. But I still saw a number of games with incredible decision-making, incredible throws on the football field. His athletic ability is there. I think this is a case, and again, I'm projecting a little bit of where a guy's the first pick of the draft, the team's falling apart, he takes it upon himself to start to carry them, try to do too much. He's watching the guy, Jaden Daniels, who's drafted after him, and he's going, wait, people are talking about him being an MVP. I got to play that type of level. You put more pressure on yourself. You force more things. You try to make bigger plays. That's kind of what I feel. I will be shocked if he's not one of the most improved, best stories in football this year under Ben Johnson.
So let's take a look at some video we have of him practicing his footwork. So we love that stuff here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned. But yeah, Ben Johnson did it with Jared Goff, and he's playing the best football of his career. And he's trying to do the same thing with Caleb Williams in year number 2 here.
These are little tools that are going to help him. Right? I mean, we have no questions about his arm or any of that. That's it's one of the best arms in the sport, period. And on the run, he's up there with the Allens and Mahomes throwing the ball on the run. I mean, it is a laser in what he has here. Now, what's going to happen with Ben Johnson and the footwork and all that, he's going to get him to listen to that a little bit. That'll be another nice little guideline of hey, you're seeing this, but let your feet talk to you to a degree, right? You don't want your feet to overtake you, but yet you don't want to not listen to them as well. You see that throw right there on the run? I mean, jump, going left, rocket, back of the end zone, no problem. And that's the special stuff he can do. He's really
flexible.
Special.
I think that's one of his superpowers.
He's like Gumby.
He is like Gumby.
It really is.
Yeah.
His arm is so flexible and loose and all of that, and he is as a total athlete altogether. But, yeah, it's going to just be about polish, and it's going to be about rebuilding a little confidence. And Ben Johnson's going to teach him a few things, and he's going to, oh, my God, this play is so much easier now compared to last year because you just taught it in a nicer, cleaner way and gave me less keys or just one key to worry about and one thought, right? And that's what a quarterback-friendly head coach can do to you, and I think that's where it's going to be a big effect, let alone – I think, you're as much as you hate the Bears, you're in the category of, with me, of going, they made a lot of good adjustments to their football team this offseason.
Rebuilt offensive line,
right.
Both guards, center. You got Luther Burden. You got Colston Loveland. I don't root against any of these people individually. I just, in totality, root against the Bulls. That is, I'm rooting for the people against the team.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yep. And I know I'm higher on him than most here. I get that.
On Caleb?
Yeah.
You think people have jumped off the bandwagon after year one?
Or they're not necessarily off, but they're not going to rank them maybe quite as highly as I'm going to into this year, right? That's where I look at it. And again, that's where maybe our rankings and what we do is a little different because I do try to not just go off of last year. I am going to go on a little bit of the jump, and this is for 2025. This isn't the old 2024 rankings. Yeah. We're trying to rank 2025 before we get into the season here. He's one that I would say watch out for.
And I know we're not putting a number next to his name because we don't do that until we get to the top 10. But, if we were to put a number next to Caleb Williams' name, what would it be?
That would mean he'd be right at, 15 right here, I think. Yeah, 15 or 14.
Okay.
16. That's where he is.
That's why we're not putting a number next to his name.
Well, in this area here, I have it jumbled up a little bit.
Yeah,
I have some notes and stuff like that. And
there are a lot of arrows pointing.
There's a lot of arrows and things going all over the place.
It's a tough region to rank here, which is why we put them all in their same line, different blocks, but same tier in the quarterback countdown, which is a quarterback build up as we block by block, tier by tier. The new tiers are in, ready to launch. Is this it? And need more info on
That's right. And like I said, ready to launch, Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. Yeah, I'm favoring them a little bit over the Tua, Dak, and Trevor Lawrence. And like I told you, in my heart of hearts, if I had to bet money, I guess I'd go, I expect Drake Maye and Penix to pass those guys up as well. But I don't try to just do it all. I have to see a little more, and my heart just can't make this decision. I got to see something go through my eyes into my brain to make me believe it, too. So I don't quite believe it like I do the other ones yet. I think they're going to prove me wrong, but I got to see a little bit more first.
So no more blocks to build today, but we do have some breaking news before we go.
Is that right?
The latest jinx is out.
Wow.
The Madden cover has been revealed.
Wow.
Any guesses? Have you seen the rundown?
No, I'm not going to even look yet.
Don't look.
So is it Saquon?
There it is. It was.
Well, where'd it go?
Oh, we took it away.
There it is. Oh, the play. Oh, wow. And it's not actually the play. It looks like he took a picture emulating the play, right?
Yeah, because they didn't want to roast anyone. Who is that?
It was the Jaguars where they were playing that day. So they made the helmet black. I don't know if that's the real picture. That looks like he's posing to me.
I think that's a pose. Yeah,
right?
I think it is.
And they usually do posing pictures now on Madden.
Well, yeah, because that's not even a real player. Because what is it, 2 Nike logos on the shoulder? That's no one.
Yeah, right. It doesn't look like you can see a logo on there either. But that was the Jaguars in the Kelly Green unis. And, I'm not shocked to hear that it's Saquon. He's the man. He deserves it. I like it.
So after a great year, it'll be a bad year, though. Although that has been disproven at this point, right? We had plenty of Madden covers at this point where the player's gone on to have a really good year, or no?
I think we've had we
had a good run.
I think we've broken the streak to it. It's not a curse anymore.
Who was it? Josh Allen last year?
Josh Allen was last year. So there we go. That's craps all over that curse. That's for sure. Who was it the year before? McCaffrey, which I would go. They went to the Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl that year, and he had a good year. I know he was maybe banged up a little bit here and there, but I don't think the curse is quite what it used to be.
Yeah,
I think we got it. We've squashed the curse, and I certainly think there'll be holes for Saquon to run through this year. So I don't think the curse will continue.
So we continue up the pyramid. But are we into the top 10? I think by next pod, will we get into the top 10?
Well, we're going to wait to the top 10 till next week. So this week, on Wednesday, we will finish this. We're into the top 15, and we're going to go kind of 5 through 10 through there.
Okay, all right, good. I like that.
Yeah, so I think we got it.
That does it. So we're done, so we should just finish the pod.
Yeah, we'll just finish the pod. That sounds good. Good idea by you there.
It was Christian McCaffrey last year on the cover.
Last year. Before we go, the curse is alive. The curse is alive. It wasn't Josh Allen last year?
That must have been 2
So it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that still was a pretty good year for was it?
Yeah, it was still a pretty good
bad.
year.
Okay.
He hasn't had any bad years.
All right,
that's
so,
for
but
sure.
maybe it does live on. Sorry, Saquon.
Maybe. Damn, we take it all back. All right, everybody. You know where to send in the questions. You know where to find us. Subscribe, rate, review. Ahmed Fareed, thank you as always for bringing the heat today,
Thank
you always do. I always love when you wear your baseball shirts to the football pod. I appreciate that.
It's more of a Detroit. I mean, the best team in baseball right now.
And we haven't got to Jared Goff yet, so woo!
That's true.
He's awesome. Oh, no, and I hate Jalen Hurts, and we haven't gotten to him yet either. Okay, what's going on in the world here? All right, everybody, come back Wednesday. More QB countdown. We'll keep unpacking it. Please send questions. I'd love to dive back into some of these guys we talked about today. I know this was a hard one here, and I'm sure some people are going to have some issues with some of the things I said and broke down and whatever else. But peace out. Be good. See you Wednesday. Clap it up. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.